All right, but anyway, we got a Star Citizen Live to get through, and this is with. So we watched the FPS team yesterday, and that was pretty disappointing. Not gonna lie, simply because they were basically like, nothing's ready for you in the PU because, well, there's a lot more things that you need to loot in. Well, specifically with the looting screens and stuff. There's a lot more things that you need to loot than you would in Squadron. We focused on Squadron, so now we have to kind of... It almost sounded like go back to the drawing board on some things, which was really disappointing, but those are all the right reasons, right? They have a good foundation. Now, they build off that foundation for the PU, but out of all the things I thought I would have seen soon, it would have been that looting UI, and now no. So back to reality with Star Citizen. But anyway, Star Citizen Live, the second part, is going to be with Yogi. I just think Yogi. It says flight teams, but I think it's just Yogi. So let's see what we got here, and I'll deal with the audio as soon as we get in. I'm not sure volume-wise, so let me know, Twitch chat, please.
You saw this, Yogi. Had they had this in Germany? They had Monty Python.
Sorry, your sound was garbled. Can you repeat that?
The 4 Yorkshiremen from Monty Python?
Sorry, not my strongest suit.
Never mind. Welcome back, everybody, to part 2 of this week's show. We've got Principal Vehicle Programmer. Did I get that right?
Yep.
Yeah, Principal Vehicle Programmer Yogi. Yogi on the show.
Yogi
you might remember him from the Taking Flight presentation, along with Diego and Inez, who was just here, and Tony. We've got just Yogi on for us today. We are going to dive right in. We are going to go. We've only got 20 minutes of the show, but considering that last week's show ran into some technical problems and we still haven't rescheduled for tourists and everything, we're going to go into some extra innings.
They still haven't rescheduled, so we're going to go... They still haven't rescheduled for the thing that I care about. So we're going to go longer on the thing that I don't care the most about, I guess. But the flight is so important, though, so it's understandable.
This week's, we think there's a lot of good questions here, and there's...
Just because it's so in flux and it's always changing, I just don't focus on it for now because it just seems pointless to try and learn. Everything's changing all the time.
You guys certainly deserve it. Plus, it'll give you something to do while you're waiting for the website to come back up, because I understand that it's IAE Day 1 going on right now, and, well, the website's going to website. So, Yogi, before we get started, I wanted to ask you, how was your presentation? How do you think it went? How was your experience at CitizenCon like?
I thought it went really well.
I didn't see too much from CitizenCon, actually, because we were like... when we thought the build was working, the water wasn't working, and panic broke out. With the help of Ali and Will, we got it all finished up. So it was okay, and then we had a really good Saturday night rehearsal. And then on the next day, the stick broke while the demo was on. It was stressful,
right.
but it was very fun. I love these times where you basically, I'm on the receiving end of so much love from the community. It just keeps me going every day.
It's nice. You ready to do some questions?
Jared's like, I don't get any of that.
Yeah, go ahead. You want me to talk fast? Do you want to go through a lot? Okay.
Let's just go. Let's just see where the wind carries us. First question: with the new atmospheric model, how long is an average ship expected to be able to hover in place before the thrusters?
Okay, never mind. I forgot how excited I was for... There's some really interesting questions here that will answer some of the holes that we're missing at CitizenCon.
Overheat versus ships with dedicated VTOL engines. Speaking of wind.
Okay. Yeah, okay, so I'm not going to say how long. The VTOL engines will be more efficient in that because a good chunk of the main thrust is being used to hover. So VTOL-capable ships will be able to hunger longer before the engines overheat. But in general, the engines of all ships will not overheat fast. You will always have enough time to, land. Otherwise, it would be pretty frustrating.
Okay, so it sounds to me like hovering... nose down, pointed... Well, nose down now, no. Because if you moved at all, isn't that when you sort of end up gaining momentum and the air's going over your wings and all that stuff. What I'm trying to say is nosing down at shooting at ground targets has been always super, super cringe in Star Citizen. So being able, and then at the same time, if you think about a mole or a prospector and how much time it takes to break a rock or things like that, you want to be able to time it for a while. I imagine that Yogi and teams that work on mining will tune it so the prospector will be able to stand, and hang out for a very long time if need be, and significant warning to land and cool off for a little while.
Will we see more co-pilot interactions that will assist the pilot?
Height will be a factor?
It depends what co-pilot actions are. If you think about like one person takes the stick and the other one the rudders or something like that, that not, because we usually only have one dominant seat that flies the ship. However, we're currently looking into, or will be looking into, changes into controller system soon, so that you can freely distribute what kind of weapon goes to what seat and all that. So you can basically distribute what item you want to control, and you can hand off. For example, in a Cutlass Black, you can hand off like the forward-facing gimbals to your co-pilot behind you, and they can use it then. So stuff like that, but not like mixing flight controls. That would be too hard to achieve.
It's not like
it seems goofy. The forward-facing gimbals to the co-pilot, just because it'll be really, really hard to manage aim, right? Because a big part of flying is a big part of aim is the flying aspects. But yeah, that's an interesting that maybe that example isn't the best or something like that, or the one that I would use it for. But the fact that they're unlocking possibilities is always good.
What was that Millennium Falcon ride it is, and then where one person controls the pitch and the other person controls the yaw.
Oh, that has strong network issues that I don't want to resolve.
My understanding of co-pilots these days are they just make all the announcements to the rest of the passengers.
Yeah. Oh. Or they do like checklists and whatever. I mean, you can still roleplay that if you want to.
Maybe work into the resource management gameplay there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, engineering obviously.
Let's talk about master modes. We got a couple questions here about master modes. What is the current backlog of ships needing to be converted to master modes? A couple, 30, all? I think it's like all of them. Like,
well,
talk to me.
The proper answer is all of them. I mean I can't check how many flight controls we have, but we have like it's definitely in the triple digits. When we're gonna move the stuff over to the PU, we will not do it all in perfection at once. So we're probably gonna have like the speed tuning first. So basically limiting how fast the ships can go. And then we're gonna implement the actual handling changes of the ship archetypes, meaning like streamlining all the ships so that they feel similar, bespoke to the archetype that they're supposed to be in.
Jeez, this is going to take forever. And
then we're going to go to the individual differences. So this will be like a multiple tier thing, which basically will take some time. I don't know how long that will take. I mean, this will be on Rich Towler's team, so he can probably give you a better when answer. But it will be it will come in multiple stages.
Okay.
Oh wow! So it's not even on his team to do.
It's one of those things where we invite people to always look.
Oh, Rich Towler. Gotcha. Yeah.
At the public roadmap, that's your best indicator about when anything is going to come to a particular patch and whatnot. Following up on that, how much testing has been done on industrial haulers, miners, and other non-combat ships when it comes to master modes?
Okay, so
that's a good question.
I don't think there's a lot. Okay, so don't misquote me here, but I don't think there's a lot of difference between combat ships and non-combat ships in Star Citizen. All ships are, first of all, they're ships. They have thrusters, they have shields, they have weapons. The civilian ships, they might have a little bit more protection than others, but they will all play by the same rule set.
Okay.
We did a little bit of testing with like Constellation-sized ships, but the thing is, like, the bigger the ships are, the more unique they are, and the harder they are actually to put them into a pattern. So we actually did not test too much on the really large ones. But long term, in terms of the combat gameplay, you can expect that fighters will not have an easy time around larger ships. So yeah, So that's all I can say about this at the moment.
It's interesting because the reason people are asking for industrial ships, I imagine it's to be like, well, are they going to be faster in certain situations? How am I going to escape combat? That's essentially what that question is asking. Because as somebody who likes to, main salvage ship or a mining ship or something like that, if a Gladius rolls in, what do I do? What are my choices? Right. And I think that's sort of what that question is leading to. And I think maybe they could have asked it differently. You die is not the response, right? If you die is the answer, then I quit Star Citizen, right? If it's automatic death the moment that I see them on my radar, this game is garbage, right? So you run is likely the answer, but how is sort of the question that I would ask.
Gotcha. So I don't know. So the next question here says, how will master modes affect ships that don't use main thrusters, like the Cartual, the Santagyai?
Mike, you need an escort. You need to escort yourself out of here if you think that's the answer. You don't always have an escort.
Or the Miss Fury.
Yeah, that's still the same tech below it. They're still gonna, I mean, like certain alien ships will make them unique, but when it comes to like combat balance and gameplay, it's not just about the maneuverability. It's also about the the shape of the ship. Like some of the alien ships, they have like a really large profile, so they're very, very easy to hit. Versus like an arrow that looks at you and basically disappears. But also here, like the same rules will apply there. So in navigation mode, they will be faster than they are in SEM mode, and they will have maybe slightly different SEM speeds. But how exactly these numbers going to be? This is up to first of all to the tuning process, and also then up to player feedback. So just to manage expectations, we'll not get this right in the first try, right? This will take some iterations to get right.
It's the hardest thing about this, dude. Is they're saying the same things they've been saying for years on this. I can't anymore. I can't sit here and go, it'll all get better when we have the new flight system. How many years are we expected? And I know how I understand the process. They've explained it 300 times now because it's been going on for, I think, 3 years now. We're like they place the idea in front of us and we're like, okay. And then they take that idea and they leave us and they go to Squadron 42 and we went, okay. And then they come back to us and tell us the same thing they told us 3 years ago, even though they told us life would be good after Squadron 42. So it's just like, I cannot, this is why I don't get excited about the flight stuff. It's the same shit over and over again.
So it sounds like a lot of the master modes work thus far is to single seat ships or individual craft. You said we've tried as big as a constellation. Have you thought about how master modes are going to affect ships even larger than that? Hammerheads up to like Polarises. Are master modes? Yeah. What do you got for us? Is this?
They will also still have the same. They will have the same rule set still, right? Like when they're in navigation mode, their shields will collapse, their weapons will be off. Okay. It's for them. It's more like if they want to escape from a fight, it's more about like how long they take up to spool up the drive and to align themselves and to get out of there, right? And how long they're gonna be vulnerable. But at the moment in the PU, the larger ships, they're very, very vulnerable. That's not the intention in the long term. So like as an example, if you fly a Hammerhead and you're getting attacked by 6 fighters or something like that, in a Hammerhead you shouldn't worry about too much unless that group of players or attackers is coming at you with very specialized equipment to take down large ships. That's the moment when you need to worry. So, I mean,
that leads me back to the industrial ships. Is they have no defense whatsoever. So maybe will industrial quantum drives spool up really fast, maybe something like that.
The rule set in general about how larger ships benefit or not benefit from master mode, there's not that much depth in there. It's mostly to make sure that combat stays close to each other.
Yeah, maybe heavy armor,
exciting combat environments.
I want to follow up on that hammerhead thing. You're not talking about the game as it is today. You're talking about where you want it, where you want it to go. Yes. It's obviously we have a huge international community and stuff. English is not always the first language.
I imagine Jared was reading Twitch chat and some nerd in chat was like, "I kill a hammerhead by myself in an Aurora because I'm so good at the game," and Jared's just like, "Oh my god."
Some people could only just be half listening. I want to make sure we clear out. We're not talking about how it is now. We know how it is now. Everybody knows how it is now.
Yeah.
We're
very aware of the issues.
The work of the Taking Flight presentation, the work of Yogi's team, the work of Master Modes and all stuff is about where we're going with this stuff. And obviously, like I said, and it's not just your team's work. It's Torsten's resource management system. It's the Maelstrom with the physicalized damage system. It's all these things.
It's all the creeping in.
Come into play with increasing the time to kill and and changing the ultimate experience of flying a hammerhead from what it is today to what we want it to be tomorrow. So, speaking of things that aren't implemented yet, will change things. Let's talk about armor. When armor is implemented, is there an intent for armor to prevent all damage below a certain threshold, alpha damage reduction?
I believe.
Or will it serve more like a % reduction or even something else?
So we don't have the armor system yet, but the long-term design or direction that we got is that if you basically come with a ship with anti-fighter weapons against a large ship and you shoot at it with like anti-fighter weapons, the big ships won't care. It's similar like when you take a pistol and tank and shoot against a tank or something like that. The tank doesn't care, right? So we'll have similar situations there. So what exactly these numbers are, whether they're going to be, if there's going to be a threshold or if it's just calculated based on the physical properties, I can't answer at the moment because we're still waiting for the system. We don't even have any idea yet how exactly to tune it. This will come up all when we have the first implementation from the physics guys, and then we can look into that.
Jesus Christ.
Let's
when is this
change
game
gears here and
ever
go to
going
an
to
old
happen?
chestnut. The turret gunner's experience.
I can't, dude.
Any plan to make turret gunner's experience more desirable? For example, people love to gun on the Scorpius or Hurricane, but not so much in a Vanguard, Cutlass, Super Hornet, etc. What you got? Anything?
What's undesirable about being in a turret? I think it's not bad.
Right now, I'm actually working on the gunnery experience for the turrets. You've seen the precision targeting. Sorry, I need to think about names here because we called it ADS in the past, but it's called the precision targeting system on ships now. That doesn't work by itself on turrets because in turrets you're the gimbal itself that kind of leads the shots, right? So the thing I'm currently looking into is adding gimbals on turrets themselves, so that even in turrets you can go to the precision targeting mode and you have a little bit more gimbal control, and you can theoretically use manual and auto gimbal modes. That will all add to that. Also, the new aiming system has enough flexibility built in so that we can exaggerate the performance or the weapon performance of a turret. We can, for example, easily by saying, hey, this guy, like this weapon, if you use it on a turret, it's 50%, has 50% higher projectile velocity or so.
Oh, that's cool.
So there's quite a lot of like stuff that's happening right now in preparation for moving all these features over to the PU. I think you said like, why is a Scorpion good, or a Scorpius good, but a Vanguard bad on the turrets? I don't really understand where the difference on the turrets are because they basically are top-mounted turrets that go all the way around. So if there's like a difference in I don't know, in gimbal speeds or something like that, that's just tuning. So
I didn't know the difference
I would
either.
assume that over time, like these values will be a little bit more streamlined.
Okay. Alex McClay 2000 in the chat asks, what's the difference between armor, physicalized damage, and Maelstrom? Well, the physicalized damage system is like the overarching umbrella. That is everything that determines that is involved in a systemic physics-based damage and destruction system of your ship. Or ship, vehicle, outpost, whatever. Maelstrom is the destruction part. It's how those items break apart into physically based pieces, fly all over the place. Armor is the value of the materials. Whether it's everything has to have an assigned material. Is this part steel? Is this part concrete? Is this part sand?
That question was
whatnot?
a plant.
And
I heard really big streamers that have like super fast chats. They'll make up a chat to like make a joke. Did you know that? They'll just pretend that somebody said it because nobody would know the difference if they didn't.
Then the third part that's not mentioned in there is piercing and stuff, is ammunition and weapons and stuff, being able to pierce through those things to damage damage subsequent layers and stuff. All those things and one or two more things that are escaping me right now all make up what's called the physicalized damage system. And we're actually hoping to have kind of a big kind of primer on this, which is why it's off the top of my head here, in the new year, probably not until March or April, quite honestly, because there's still a couple more things we want to come online to be able to show you. But to answer that very question, but you can get the 10-cent version here.
March or April?
Will QEDs block a ship from switching into nav mode?
So December.
Switching into nav mode, no, but it will block the positive effects from being in nav mode. So if you are on a QED device, you will not enjoy nav mode speeds, but you will enjoy the lack of shields. So yeah, that's like you can always switch the modes, but the effects are the ones that will be inhibited.
That seems totally fine. If anybody has any issues with that, I would find that to be weird. You would want to have the freedom to be able to switch the modes, but you just don't gain the benefit of switching the mode, so why would you switch the mode? You know?
So I mean, you can be a nav, but it's not really doing you any good.
Yeah, if you're getting attacked and you're a nav, you have an incentive to swap.
Here's an important question: can we get the ability to drink a water bottle or eat food while in the cockpit? I wasn't being facetious about it. It's an important. It's being able to address your.
It was on a roadmap somewhere.
Hunger and thirst while you're in the cockpit of your single-seating ship, like a Gladius or something, is pretty important.
It's a thing.
What can you tell us?
Isn't it an Inesh question? I don't know.
It's a thing, though. 100%.
I mean,
I read it somewhere.
If you play games, like stay hydrated, it's important, right? So drink your water.
Cheers.
Speaking of which.
All right, I'll see if I can follow up with Inez and get the answer to that.
I'm sorry.
It was 100% on a roadmap.
All right, then we'll go back to atmospheric flight. No, we already touched on that one. How are ships without wings or large VTOL engines, such as the MSR, expected to handle an atmosphere, if at all?
Oh, you mean the
MSR is a wing. It's a big ass wing. What do you mean?
Ships that have the aerodynamic profile of a brick?
Yes.
They will still fly. I mean, we haven't completely discussed how well they will fly, but similar to the current aerodynamics model, like it would be unfair to lock out complete ships out of that experience and basically make it super, super realistic. It would also be very punishing if somebody buys an Aurora. I mean, Aurora is like the shape of a brick, right? So
I want to fly my Drake Caterpillar hot dog in atmosphere.
It doesn't have any lift at all.
Aurora has VTOLs, and it's got little wings.
But also those they will fly. Not sure if we, for example, how we're going to tune it. I mean, theoretically, we could give them a higher stall speed, so that people need to fly faster for prolonged periods of time to keep their altitude or so. But I don't know yet. I mean, if a ship is sufficiently fast, it will always fly. But ultimately, also here it counts that the play experience is important, even if you have an aerodynamic ship. But like ships with like proper wings, that would probably just be a little bit better. Not that much better though.
I need those little fans that are in the winglets of the Aurora.
Yeah.
To work.
Oh yeah.
I need those to actually do something.
I've seen this amazing picture by some backer, which was basically like parts of the Aurora like popping out and becoming wings. I really love that. But I'm not sure if the ship team is up for it.
No,
I'm
not.
The Aurora DX or whatever. Yeah, the fan one. He saw that.
No, I'm not talking about hacked fan art. I'm talking about the wings have these little circular fans in them, just like the Connie does.
The Connie has these as well, or like I saw them at some point.
Yeah, but do they really do anything? With control surfaces, they're going to help. They're going to.
These look like more like hover things, not like control. Like control surface mode is for like control surfaces. They only are active when you're actually fast.
Aurora has little wings.
Yeah,
it's a torpedo.
Take that offline.
All right. Quantum boosting.
Jared tried there. He tried.
Has a lot of potential for fun exploration and travel, but the shake seems very intense. Are there already conversations internally around reducing the amount of camera shake, or will there be an option in the menu to reduce this?
Yeah. So in general, when you see something on a demo like we did, or the thing that I started doing when I'm creating any kind of material for demos, I'm exaggerating the effects, because it's always easier to starting small and then getting like the max strength feel right, and then have somebody come in and like tweak it down, than the other way around. For example, other effects like the zoom when you do a G-force boost or something like that, somebody just turned it off. Although we had this in for ages. So that's why. So that's like the bottom line. Like these effects are really strong. And for quantum boosting, I don't think we actually did a shake pass. I mean, I think it might be, maybe we did a shake pass, but in general, it's likely that it is too strong and that we will dial down. There's this other question about whether you should be able to turn it off or not. In Squadron 42, yes, you can basically turn this all off. In the PU, there's this discussion whether or not that should be possible or not, because once you
I don't want any
disable
fucking
things
shake.
like G-force effects or things like camera shake and so on.
The camera shake's got to go. It is nauseating. Even when it's a little bit, I don't like it.
You also have a much more stable aiming, an aiming image in front of you, right? So we need to discuss that. I'm not sure if other PvP games like COD or so actually allow you to turn off camera shake. I think this needs to be discussed.
All right, turn off the camera shake, but shake the weapons, right? Like, turn off the camera shake, but shake the weapons. Shake your aim off, but don't shake the camera, because it literally is nauseating.
So I cannot definitely say, yes, we can all turn it off. I don't know that. That's not up to me. That's a director level decision.
Yeah, it should.
And of course, when you talk about, it might have had a camera shake pass and stuff. It could have a shake pass by somebody who can ride 15 roller coasters back to back to back with nothing anymore. Meanwhile, my poor self can't do 2 minutes of VR without wanting to throw up. So it's like camera passes.
I'm
review
more
passes
like Jared.
Are
I get it. I mean, like one of the most fun things that I did to Bayer at some point was let him test the camera system, like the first pass of the G-force systems, and he really got sick from that, because he really can't. He's getting really motion sick, which is I'm sad for him. So I get it. Like there's an accessibility issue, but I cannot give like definitive answers here. But the issue is known, and we'll talk about this in time before we move it over.
Yeah,
honestly,
he's just sharing the.
I wouldn't believe you anyway right now. It's too
gameplay
early
implications.
in the thing. There's still too much development to go between here and there.
Yeah.
So anything.
There's still too much development to go, guys. Like, this game is such a meme at this point. This is so fucking stupid.
Anything can change. You know what they say, the only constant in game development is change. Will there be an option for a higher level of zoom in precision targeting mode for artillery ships like the Ares Ion and Perseus?
That's an interesting question.
Of course the copium wore off when every SCL they do is basically go, that was just us showing it. We're nowhere close to giving it to you. Of course the copium wore off. When even the things that you thought were close to being done are nowhere near available to come in the game. Bro, the first thing they talked about was cloud tech. That's not even on the roadmap yet.
I'm not sure. We'll see. So what the gameplay is not about, we don't have sniper gameplay or something like that, right? Like if you fire from like 8 clicks.
Did anyone think Master Modes was close? I'm not talking about the FPS stuff or the ship stuff. This was stuff that obviously is farther away. It's a meme that it's been a triple, quadruple year process at this point. But the other stuff, some UI things, I think a lot of us would have thought maybe 322, maybe soon after, first patch of the year. First patch of the year might be interesting, but I don't know, man. Yeah, the hair tech, we got some of that, but yeah. I would say out of everything we saw at CitizenCon, I would have thought a lot more stuff would have been closer, because they basically showed nothing for an entire year. So the expectation would have been that some of that stuff was ready,
With an Inferno or with an iron against a target. This is not sniper gameplay, because the bullet will be traveling for quite a couple of seconds before it goes there. So this doesn't really work. So I don't think having a super strong zoom actually helps. The other problem with zoom is that if you have like a very tiny, like a zoom basically reduces the field of view to just a couple of degrees, right? Once you get down to like, I don't know, 10 degrees or something like that, you have the problem that the background might look really, really bad, because then things like background texture resolutions come very much into play. Also, having such a strong zoom doesn't really add a lot. So, but also that the extra zoom strength are up for discussions. We'll probably just ship it out with the first revision. We might even have it too on different operator modes, where different operator modes have different kind of zoom strength. We might even change it based on the weapons. I don't know.
Talking about this precision.
So there's the potential, but there's not like I cannot just flat out say yes, we'll do it. This is would not be.
It looked very arcadey.
It's a bit of an FPS trope. I'm not saying it can't apply to spaceships. Just there's so many other things to do.
Yeah.
With the new changes in the atmospheric flight system, will some ships like the M50 or the Origin series, I guess the 100, at the M50 or the Origin 100 series land like airplanes instead of with VTOL?
Oh, I really would like to have that, but I don't see that in the near future. You mean because these actually have wheels, right,
Yes.
on the landing gears? Yeah, I don't even know if they're actually if they're like moving wheels. I don't know. I mean, I don't see this right now. Like all of our landing pads are like pads where you vertically go down.
They're very short.
I haven't seen any runways. Like I would love runways, but I don't see that in the near future. But with the aerodynamic system or with the control surface mode, you can actually glide in there like you would actually land like that. So yeah, I guess we'll have to discuss it at some point.
Just do it.
Whoa, Jesus, Jared!
Just do it. Just make them land like airplanes.
Okay, I'll talk to some people. I'll create a Spectrum thread about this, and this will get somebody's attention. I'm not an artist. You don't want me to build a runway. If I build a runway, it will be long and blue, pink, and whatever. So it will not look good.
Okay. Let's talk about ship weapons, or more specifically, ammo. Will ammo for ship weapons ever be decoupled from the weapon itself? Right now, ammo is basically inside the gun. But will ammo storage that varies by ship archetype and carrying extra crates of shells aboard larger ships be a thing we could expect
I hope
to see?
so.
We talked about this internally quite often, because from a balance point of view, this is also what I would like to see. Basically sacrificing hard points for bigger ammo storage or something like that.
Dude, at the turret, I would love there to be like a cabinet that you put more ammo into. You know what I mean? Like even if it's like a remote turret, next to the remote turret, you put the ammo in or something like that. Think like, some of those multi-crew spaceship games or whatever. You know what I mean?
Moment we
like
do not
Barotrauma and
know
stuff.
how to properly do it. We had some talks with
that's my preference.
With Thorsten and the Resource Network people about how to do that, having ammo belts and so on. That could theoretically do that, but at the moment we don't have a proper plan for that yet. Long term, we absolutely would like to have that, because it also allows logistical mechanics behind that where you can just serve as an ammo bearer for somebody else and so on. So nothing concrete yet. But in terms of balancing, it actually hurts us, because sometimes our weapons are mounted on different types, and if I have a size 3 ballistic repeater on a medium fighter versus on a heavy fighter, I think on the heavy fighter, it should have more ammo, right? Yeah. Because it's just chunkier and bigger. And at the moment, we cannot do this. So this is actually an annoying problem for us as well.
Bloss, he's not saying there's no ammo reload. He's saying, will it be separated boxes and stuff? We still have, there are still ships like the Vulcan. What's the other one I'm thinking about and stuff and
Bro,
stuff like this? And there's still.
I don't want to reload on another ship. I don't want another ship to reload me. We used to have this when the game first came out. Each weapon had a number of reloads in it, and then it would run out. I believe that was the case. And that's what we want. You want to go through the same thing as capacitors, but with ballistic ammo. And on larger ships that have internals, we would like to replace those boxes. That's it. That's what they're asking.
It's talking about, just complete separation of every single ammo type from every single weapon. And he's saying he wants to do it. He's just saying there's no active in progress thing for it, right?
At the moment, we can't do it. I'm not sure if we actually had like different ammo types for the same weapon, because usually we're balancing our weapons with a specific ammo type. But I mean, this can also change. I mean, at the moment they're bigger.
Jared doesn't know he's on camera.
But why am I looking at me when Yogi's talking? There you go. I'm just telling you, you were talking, I was looking at my dumb face. I'm like, why am I seeing my dumb face when Yogi's talking?
I always see my dumb face when I start talking, because then my Zoom preview call swaps up to the other one, so I see me twice, just one time delayed. I would rather look at you into the face.
Yeah. No. All right. Let's see. What other big ones? I mean, we're in OT right now, so let's see if we can make sure.
At this point, let's all make the decisions.
Here.
There's no balance.
Why the choice to go towards space drag style SCM combat? One of the unique elements that Star Citizen had was the full 6 degree of freedom speed limit, with acceleration being the defining difference between ships. Did we drop 6 degrees of freedom? Did I miss a memo?
No, we did not drop 6 degrees of freedom. We just, it was always, ideologically or theoretically, you could say, yeah, we clamped down a lot of the stuff, but the flight model in Star Citizen always had a speed limit, and we're still having the speed limit. We just made it lower. And with the boost space, where the draggy stuff comes from, we made it a little bit more dynamic. The thing is that we actually tested what fun combat engagement speeds are. So I think like 18 months ago, I did like a blind test. So I invited people from PET, and
here's the only problem here is that we're in year 10, people are committed, and then they may not like the flight model that they decided to choose. This should have been chosen in 2013, and we should have just moved on, right? And this is the game you're going to play. If you don't like it, you don't like it. But they didn't. They kept iterating and iterating and iterating and iterating.
From the VGPU team, and just had them play PvP scenarios in Arena Commander, but I turned off the acceleration, like the G meters, and the speed meter. So they didn't know how much they accelerated, and they didn't know how fast they were going. And guess what kind of speeds they liked most?
No, that's good. That makes sense.
120 meters per second.
Yeah.
And I thought that was too low, so we basically pushed it up a little bit far. But I'm pretty sure that the combat speeds we have right now, so that they're so low, they're actually helping the combat geometry and the fun in the game a lot.
Carpe Gian in the chat is asking why Jared is so snarky today. Now I know what my mom's Twitch account is. Hi, Mom. And then
because they caught him shaking his head at a backer, which is never really a good look, but. Sorry, some backers, including myself at times, need someone to shake their head at them, right? So
the chat is like, today? Just, as time goes on, I become more and more me. Sorry, everybody. We've talked a few times about flight surfaces and control surfaces and what happens if you don't have wings. But let's flip that here for this next question. Flight surfaces would obviously not function in all planets, as ailerons and rudders that work on Earth do not work on Mars and Venus, for example.
Oh my God.
So how will the ship's Earth Atmo-like flight control services fare in other atmospheres like high density or low density worlds?
I mean, high density is good for aerodynamics because then the rudders get much more, or your control surface get much more authority. Low density is basically the same case when you come in down to a planet. And the air in this case is so thin that you actually cannot turn your ship. So in this case, the thrust is actually helping you out. The current control surface model actually has this transition period between 0 and 0.2 bar, or atmospheres, sorry. I think it's the same, whatever. I'm not a physics guy. The input or the acceleration output from the control surfaces and your thrusters are actually mixed, and they're being shrunken down the closer and more denser the atmosphere is. So when the atmosphere is dense enough, then the control surface fully take over. Until then, the thrusters still rotate you and so on. So there is this transition period, so it should work out of the box. If you go to a moon with like no atmosphere, it's your thrusters that are doing the work, not your control surfaces.
Okay. And let's see.
Should just work.
Let's squeeze one more. Let's do a blue sky question.
Blue sky. Go.
Blue sky. What is Yogi's vision for the future of large, non-capital ship combat? Paint us a picture with
large, non-capital ship combat. What does that even mean?
the words, Yogi.
So non-large.
It says large, non.
Yeah, like, do they mean like Corsair or Perseus? Do they mean Hammerhead?
Non-capital ship combat, but
okay. What is the?
I mean, I just.
Artesius in chat says 100 versus 100, like a large number of fighters. I don't think that's what they mean.
That's what they wrote. Let's assume that they meant capital ship combat. I think that's probably what.
He literally said non-capital. Let's assume they meant capital. Yo, this is so classic CIG, dude. Let's just answer the question however we want.
More people are interested in it anyway. So paint us a picture.
Okay.
And he just goes, more people are interested in it anyway. Because they're...
So
don't write any checks, but just this is what you would like. This is what you would like if we get to do it, if all the cards fall where they're supposed to.
Okay, so far which this is not my vision. This is basically what like, you know, management is giving us, or gameplay direction is giving us. But what we see so far is that we have like dogfighting, and the bigger the ships are, the more the combat will turn from dogfighting into a naval style combat. So when you have big ships fighting against each other, they will not necessarily.
He's answering the question.
Necessarily be like really close, but they will fight over relatively large distances, so there's enough, you know, space in between to fight. They will fire long-range cannons, they will fire torpedoes, they will fire other things, and the gameplay there resolves more around DPS appliance and trying to get the shortest time to kill on the other enemy. So, and if you have capital ships as opposed to fires, they're going to have very deep gameplay with the resource network, where you. I mean, Torsten's a better person to talk about this, right? But where you maximize your damage output against other ships. It will also resolve, like the maneuvering for pilots will more resolve around exposing the strong sides of the ship. Like if somebody is focusing on the left side of the shields or something like that, then they would, for example, turn the ship around to expose the other side. At the same time, you want also to expose the sides of the ship that have the most working turrets, or maybe the turrets with the best loadout for attacking this or that target. So that is roughly what we're going for. So large ship will mostly be
sounds fun
naval
if done
style
right.
combat, but of course
sounds fun if done right. If there's no desync and there's no, we still have all these other issues to resolve. It does sound really fun, though. It just sounds also very complicated.
6 degrees of freedom still. But it will not be dogfighting.
Okay, and then as I think I might understand the question now, so that's capital ships. And what about the sub-capital? I think that's probably what they meant by non-capital, sub-capital.
They're interesting, yeah. So it depends on the ship, right? For example, if you take a look like a constellation, the constellation.
Let's go bigger than constellation. Let's look at like Polaris. I know there's all this argument about, let's assume let's assume there's Javelin up here. Now let's get smaller. Perseus, Polaris, Hammerhead, those kind of things.
It depends. It depends on the ships and what kind of roles they have. I can't talk too much about the Polaris, but for example, the Hammerhead has a specific role in such like a big capital ship battle.
Capital ship
like,
combat. You heard it here first, everybody.
So it has a specific role, right? And the other ships, like it will care about the fighter cover. It would not fare well against similar sized opponents that are purposely built to take down similar sized ships.
Isn't the Polaris
so it
like
depends always on the ship.
destroying a
like
hammerhead,
some ships
right?
have like they rely a lot on turrets. Other ships, like I'm just saying that
In
like,
the
I want to say
marketing
the
material?
Constellation here because the Constellation is a very forward centric ship. It has like these massive size 5 mounts which face forward. So this thing, like a ship like that, is obviously not relying much on the turrets to do like the alpha damage against larger enemies. So there will be a transition period between the size of the ships and how they maneuver.
Oh fuck! I just hit a button. I'm so sorry.
Something like that. Then they would, for example, turn the ship around to expose.
Damn, I was pretty
like
close.
Polaris.
Kind of roles they have. I can't talk too much about the Polaris, but for example, it will care about the fighter cover. It will not a lot of turrets. Other ships, like I'm just saying that, like I wanted to say the Constellation here because the Constellation is a very forward centric ship. It has like these
I have these
massive
G
size
buttons
5
on my
mounts,
keyboard, and I just
which
mashed
face
one.
forward. So this thing, like a ship like that, is obviously not relying much on the turrets to do like the alpha damage against larger enemies. So there will be a transition period between the size of the ships and how they maneuver. But that's all combat details. But I mean, like the bigger the ship, the more it goes, the more it turns into this.
Don't overtalk, Pili. I was talking over something we just heard. To let you know, I apologize. I can't pause. I can't talk.
Style gameplay.
That's the intent.
The video's been out for 2 days. The video's been out for 2 days. That's all I gotta say. You had every opportunity to go watch it yourself.
I think you did well. I think you did well. It's one of those things like this is the capital ship gameplay, and obviously there's going to be. I mean, even when I said it, I realized there's going to be arguments about what is a capital ship and what isn't a capital ship and how big. He said it was subcapital, and I just meant small.
Streamer, the thing is I'm going to be honest. I really don't care what you have to say. Your words mean nothing to me. But this video means everything to me. And you keep pausing to speak, and it feels like a personal attack. Please resume the video and shut the fuck up.
Smaller than a javelin. I don't have my whiteboard here with the full list and break it down and stuff like that. We had some
categories like what is a sloop or something like that. But the thing is, like, we do not have too many ships of these categories. So at the moment, like building a category about that is probably not that useful. We'll see how it all plays out.
But I think that's like that was where my dream for Star Citizen always was when I was a backer before I joined the company and stuff. My vision was my thing that always appealed to me was that capital style gameplay. Also like a Cannonball Run style race through 10 different star systems that I wanted to set up. But
come to gameplay, help us make it happen.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're getting there as all these fundamentals go in. There's we're going to have to stop. We're going to have to shit or get off the pot here eventually. Doesn't do it. So
what is that? What does he mean?
Cool.
Just being real. I mean, it's got to happen. So
yeah, it will happen.
What the fuck is he talking about?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for answering questions from our community. Folks who are watching, we're going to get up. I think we're doing a raid here. I think we're raiding Bognagus here in a few minutes. Before we let you go, if you haven't, check out yesterday's Inside Star Citizen with the reveal of the Sulin.
They either need to do it or move on. I know what shit or get off the pot means, but in reference to what? The capital gameplay? Because they were he was talking about what he likes when he was a backer, and then it just I'm not sure what he was even referencing. Like, just like making the game? Yeah. No shit. They got to shit or get off the pot. I mean, how many years have I been saying this? If that's what he's referencing, like, based as fuck, I was just confused what he was talking about. If it was like a specific thing or something, I was a little lost there. But yeah, you got to make the game eventually, and I mean that's what was exciting about CitizenCon is it looked like a lot of the features were being functioning and working, but it turned out they were just displayable.
It's truly a one-of-a-kind spaceship. We were all super excited to reveal it to you on yesterday's ISC. And then, of course, IAE starts today, day one. I believe it's Alien Day. I've seen messages about the website and all that stuff like that. It is what it is. But keep trying. You'll be able to get in eventually. And then, of course, come back every day of IAE this week. There'll be different manufacturers and different promotions available each and every day. And then be sure you come back on day 17 for the Capital Sheep, first revealed here. By our own principal gameplay programmer, Yogi Klatt. You can take, that's a promise. If you want to learn more about Capital Sheep, you can find John Crew at _John Crew on X, formerly known as Twitter. Ask him about the Capital Sheep. Ask him what the Capital Sheep is, what it does, how much it'll cost, when you can get it. It's a special social media promotion we're doing. The only way you're going to learn more about the Capital Sheep is by messaging John Crew directly on social media.
Be better in atmosphere.
Look out for that. For Star Citizen Live, I'm Jared. This may or may not be my last broadcast. Will probably definitely be pre-recorded next week regardless. Saying take care. We'll see you then. Bye.
What's next week? Do we know who's on next week yet? I wonder why. But it's another Star Citizen Live of we would like, if we could. It's going to be a while. So these are just like the nail. Oh, true. It's holiday. Duh, I should know that. My parents come tomorrow. My parents are coming to visit tomorrow. So yeah, that should have made sense to me because yesterday was all about planning for that. But what holiday? It's American Thanksgiving for those of you guys that are not in the U.S. So that's what my family is all getting together for. But these SCLs are like just super letdowns from everything around CitizenCon. I was still riding high on the design discussions of CitizenCon. Reality check is the right word, Mentalist. Yeah, a reality check of what, and I've been saying this a lot, of what is showcaseable and what is doable are two wildly different things. And I think the way how polished the showcase was this past year made it feel like it was more possible to see it in game sooner, and nothing has changed in that regard. And why would it? Why would any year be different? It's still the same company. It's still the same game. I don't know why I thought this year would be different. I really thought it would, and now I just don't think it will be. And the real nail in the coffin was yesterday when we watched the FPS thing, and they shared that the UI didn't make sense in the PU, and I agree with them 1,000%. It makes sense, but it worked, but it didn't make perfect sense for the PU, and they have to think about that again. And then you look at every other aspect of CitizenCon, you go, well, everything else kind of has to go through that too, outside of some of the things that we're getting. We're getting the hairs at new hairs, and then maybe a little bit of the new character creator and things like that, things that aren't different between the two games. So it was like, yeah, much more of an emphasis on the or so now than the next 12 months. But I don't know, guys. What do you think? I'll leave us with this question. If you made it to the end of the React, is of all the things at CitizenCon, what things do you see What things do you think we're going to see in the Q1 patch in 2024? Out of everything showed at CitizenCon now, after the 2 weeks of Star Citizen Live, what do we see in the Q1 patch of 2024? Minus ships. Cartwell, get that out of here. No ships. Right? My hope is maybe star map stuff, UI stuff, and maybe some of the cargo stuff